If you say you want peace, but somehow or another you keep chasing this chaos, well, that's not abnormal because there is emotional addiction. And even though you want better and you want peaceful, you're familiar with this. So let's talk about how you can reverse that right now. Check it out. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Positivity Experience. It's your girl, Lori. I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited to talk to you about this topic, but I'm hoping that you guys' week has gone well. I have tapped out all of my birthday celebrations. I did that for a couple of weeks, and now I'm like, woo, now I'm ready to just get back to the ground running. And this is going to be a really good opportunity for me to kind of go even deeper back in the times that I was chasing chaos. And I know so many of you are. I have talked to people all over this world. I have clients all over the world. I do everything on Zoom. And I can promise you that it doesn't matter what country, continent, culture, gender that I'm speaking to. There is always someone, most of you guys that come to me that are in this chaos, but you don't want to be in the chaos, but yet you keep attracting it. And this was a really important topic because I too understand what that's like because I experienced it for myself. So it's why do you attract chaos and why do I have this emotional addiction? So we're going to talk a lot about that, but over on Patreon, there's going to be a really good detailed worksheet and table that can help you identify, and obviously we're going to talk about it here. So you're going to know some of those, but it will allow you to print it out, really sit with it and say, ooh, okay, where am I still stuck? Why did this happen in the first place? It's just a really good starting point. So if that's your jam, hop over to Patreon, patreon.com/the positivity experience, or you can find that link anywhere that you are getting the show right now in this show description. So let's talk about that. Oh my gosh. Before I even get into all of the whys, I really want to share with you and even now, not now, but I can find myself going, this is a little chaotic. I'm kind of familiar with this. Now, I no longer jump into it. I'm no longer addicted to it. But after something has been part of your, I guess, kind of like your newfound DNA, it is something that often you have to be aware of. However, back in the day, I always sought chaos. Always. I didn't want chaos. See, here's the difference. It's going to look to people like, oh my God, this person just wants chaos. No, but there's a familiarity with chaos. If you grew up and you were always on survival, well, that's chaotic. I know a lot of you guys know I'm writing my second book, which is almost done. And there's several chapters in there, after my mom passed and gone through all of the molestation and basically selling drugs at 15, waitressing during that whole time, everything like that was just a starter and not including all of the other crazy things I did. The chaos was addicting. I did not like it. I wanted to be quote unquote normal, whatever the hell that is. Remember, you're only normal if you are an appliance. If you are an appliance, then yes, you want to strive to be normal. However, everything that I did was, oh my God, where's my next thing? What am I going to do? There for a while, lived in the van with my dad, but ended up staying with a friend. But then we moved somewhere else and there was always something. And as much as I wanted stability to this day, I'm finally at a point where, I do have stability. And I don't know why I said stability, but there's still the things with finances. I mean, I'm not independently wealthy. I produce the show myself. I edit myself because I'm not in a place to pay people to do it for me. And that's okay. That's not the kind of chaos that I'm talking about. That is where you can be perfectly satisfied and not have your cortisol levels spike all the time because you're in that chaos. And I will tell you, it's taken me a very long time to be okay with quote unquote boring, whatever the hell that is. And now I crave it, but it took a long time. So if you find yourself saying, I don't like chaos, I hate this, why can't I be at peace? Why am I not doing this? I hear you. I get you and I understand you and I've experienced it. So I want to go into why does it happen? What does that look like? So let's call it what it is. Okay. You're not addicted to the person. You're not addicted to the situation. What it is you're addicted to what these people trigger in you. You're not drawn to the chaos by accident. That's your nervous system. And your nervous system recognizes that at home. So if you ever found yourself saying, oh my God, I love this person. I want to be with this person. And we talked about this last week or week before with toxic relationships. And even when it's time to get out of a relationship. So we know there's attachment. We know there's insecurity. We know all of those things, but there's a level of chaos that also comes with that. When you're constantly in, let's call it stress mode, and you're doing things like this to yourself, where you're checking somebody's Snapchat after you broke up because you want to know where they are, you're doing that to yourself. And you're doing it because you want to see, well, why are they living their best life without me? And they said that they didn't like going out, but now look at them, they're going out. This is a form of chaos. And you're looking for it. And you're said, I'm drawn to this person. I love this. First of all, that's not love. Obsession is not love. It will never be love. Would ever. So keep in mind that love is very different from obsession, and love and attachment are also very different. But there is a chaos by constantly chasing, constantly trying to solve everybody's problems and be the savior, and all of that comes with chaos. So it triggers in you something that you suddenly want to find value within yourself. And you want peace, but that's not familiar to you. It's not familiar to you. So those things that you're striving for, this level of peace, this level of sanity and sanctuary, you'll want it. And I believe you want it. I know I wanted it. But when you start getting it, it's like, okay, well, now what? It can appear very boring. As I was telling you about in the past couple of podcasts, when love is love, that means that you love someone. And if that means that you're not going to be in their life for their growth while sad, you're okay with it because you love somebody. Obsession is not love. It will never be love. And that's where the attachments come in, the insecurities, the validate me come in. Believe it or not, there's also a level of addiction to that dopamine. And believe me, we're going to talk about that even more and more. And what is emotional addiction? So let's go through it so you can say, am I really? Well, emotional addiction is the brain's attachment to the chemical state created by certain feelings. This is usually stress, anxiety, or emotional turbulence. Isn't that crazy? You're like, what the hell would I be addicted to that? I want to be addicted to hot tea or a glass of wine by a fire pit. That's what I want to be addicted to. Yes, but your body isn't familiar with it. So I want to repeat that again so you can really understand it. Emotional addiction is the brain's attachment to the chemical state by certain feelings. We know that by playing out scenarios in your head, it doesn't matter what it is. Let's say it's an intrusive thought, whatever it is. When you play it out in your head, your brain is smart, but it's you're almost like, well, brain, you're really not that smart. Your brain believes what you tell it. So if you're in an anxious spiral, your brain's like, what the hell? Oh my God, we are freaking out. We got to prepare for the worst. And all of these hormones get released and these stress chemicals get released. In turn, you're addicted to that. It's no different. It really isn't. And this is proven psychology-wise, scientific-wise. Your body can equate that addiction as you would with alcohol, drugs, or anything else that you're addicted to. Gambling, sex, that it's still the same part of your brain. Different, same responsor. So again, all of this, your brain is so smart, but yet so not at the same time, because it just believes what it is that you're telling it. But also from an addiction standpoint, we know that that is a real thing. That's not psychological. That is a real thing. But I'm letting you know that you can detox from that. I promise you that you can. I am living proof that you can. Does that mean that it doesn't come up from time to time? Yes. And I have to go, ooh, thank goodness I do the 5 journals. I created the 5 journals. I sit with and go, what's this chaos? What is it I'm fearing? I will always have to fight my financial scarcity mindset. When you've lived in a van, when you've eaten seasoning salt, when you've never really known what's going on, your body always remains there. So it is a conscious effort, and I mean almost a daily conscious effort for me to make. So that's a whole different type of chaos because it's a scarcity mindset that will never be your best friend. It will never protect you. It will never protect you. but yet you're used to it because you think I can control this. I can be prepared for it. So why does this happen? Well, obvious reasons. Growing up in an unpredictable, emotionally unsafe environment, your nervous system learns to like, hey, I'm normalizing this. This is very normal. The tension, the violence, the hypervigilance, this is normal for me. You guys know I had a very crazy childhood, like most of you listening here. And I was always prepared, not really, right? So when you have an alcoholic parent or an alcoholic caregiver or even spouse, in my case, it was my dad and my sister and my brother. It wasn't just them. And it is something that you become aware that I'm going to walk on eggshells. I don't want to rock the boat. The issue comes when you're dealing with an alcoholic or somebody with bipolar or anything with a mood instability. You're like, okay, all right, this worked yesterday. We're going to do this. I'm going to make sure everything's done like it was yesterday. And then that person comes home or that person has a moment and they're flipping out and you're like, oh my God, this worked yesterday. So you're always in prep mode. When you're in prep mode, it's chaotic. Your body normalizes this. This is just how it is because it becomes normal. That's not abnormal for you. If you're used to doing the same thing every single day, it becomes a normal process for you. It doesn't mean that it's healthy. Just because we know what we know as far as why things happen and how it affects the brain, that does not mean that it's bad. That does not mean that it's not bad. It just means that we've absolutely normalized it. And when you have emotional turbulence, now think about this. You're like, oh my God, I'm so over the emotional turbulence. I'm over it all. So now I pluck you out of wherever you are. Your bills are paid. Everybody's great. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's safe, blah, blah, blah. I put you in Aruba and you're out in Aruba and you're going to be there a week. And you're like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this. I've never taken a vacation. Life is great. You land, you get checked into the beautiful resort, all inclusive, get yourself a little drink, you go sit by the water and everybody's good, right? All your bills are paid. You got money, no worries. You sit down there and you're like, break out your book. You're like, this is so cool. And you're sitting there and now we're like 4 hours in and you're like, oh yeah, this is nice. And you're like, okay, now what should I be doing? This is nice. This is nice. Yeah. And now you try to disrupt this peaceful pattern. And then that's where you you don't lie to yourself. This is what you think, but it's not the case. You're like, anxiety just comes out of nowhere. That's not true. It's never true. It feels like it's coming out of nowhere because you're not ready for it in that moment, but that has always been there. When you are squashing stuff and you're not dealing with stuff and you're not managing things within yourself, that has to go somewhere. That anxiety doesn't just, we ain't going to talk about it. It's gone. No, it's going to find the time that you're like, it's like, oh yeah, now it's my turn. So that's why it feels that way. But very often, I'm telling you, I've seen it. You want to over plan a schedule. So now I've given you this and blah, blah, blah. You're like, oh my God, I've never been to Aruba. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this at 5. I'm going to do this at 10. Okay. You're used to managing something. It's literally okay to go, I'd like to check out the waterfall there. Okay, well, you just kind of play it by ear. That's because your body is not in chaos, but your body and mind have no idea how to deal with it. And I think that too is what can cause a high level of stress. You're like, I want this peace. Why can I not sit in this peace? This is why we're doing this. Me and my personalities over here. This is why I'm doing this with you so you can really get it and understand it. So your cortisol and your adrenaline, this does become an addiction. If your baseline is used to be on edge, waiting for the next explosion, shifting, guilt tripping, your body craves that chaos because as it would with sugar, nicotine, or anything else, that cortisol level, that adrenaline. Why do you think people like me, I love ziplining. The higher, the faster, like I said, the higher over canopy, over water. I love it. I am an adrenaline junkie. It feels good. It is awesome. It lets you know you're alive and awake. That is an addiction. Think about how that feels. Like, oh my God, that's great. Exhilarating. I want to do that again. You're on this high. Well, your cortisol, which we know is the stress hormone. Oh, that pesky little thing. It's there. It's there to help you. But if it's not in a useful pattern, that's where we get that spare tire around our gut. That's where we're always in this sense of almost vibration. Some of you will, I think, understand this. Whenever I have had, let's say, severe anxiety, or there's a moment, my whole body, now externally, you can't see it. In my mind, I'm like, how the hell can you not see this? My whole body is vibrating. The inside, it's literally like, and it's vibrating. That is your high level of cortisol. I'm talking, that's like, woo, I've had a lot of this. That's like eating 57 chocolate bars and getting that sugar rush. So your body does get used to it, and it's not good for the body, of course, but you're used to it. So that's why that is. Now, what are some signs of that? Well, signs that you're emotionally addicted to chaos. Let's talk about it. You feel uncomfortable in a calm, stable relationship. Yes. Isn't it funny how you say, I want a nice relationship, someone who loves me, someone who hears me, somebody who supports me. So now you have that and you're fine. You're going to the farmer's market. You're doing things. They have a life of their own. You have a life of your own. Everybody is good, for the most part. And then you're like, well, this is kind of boring. It's fine, but my God, is this it? Because you're used to a chaotic relationship. You're used to being on edge. You're used to mistrust. So when you don't have anything to mistrust and it's good, you're like, oh my God, this is very uncomfortable. So if you find yourself uncomfortable in these calm atmospheres and relationships, you are definitely emotionally addicted to chaos, for sure. Also, if you pick fights, I did this. If you pick fights, if you sabotage your peace, or if you become anxious when things are too good, you're definitely addicted to chaos. I think I told you in my early 20s, well, I was like 19 with an illegal fake ID. Through my very early 20s, I had so much anger. I had no idea how to process it. A girlfriend of mine would go to clubs. We would just start fights. We'd just fight. Fighting was my release. I didn't say it was good, but shit, a lot of things I didn't do in life were good. A lot of things you didn't do in life were good. I get that. You pick fights because you just need that level of chaos. Peaceful, you're going to sabotage it. And then when things are going good, now you're like, I need to be on hyper alert for when it goes away. Well, it is going to go away. Everything has a cycle. Everything has a season. But guess what? If you're prepping for it, you're not even appreciating what's good for you right now. You're just not. If you feel drawn to people who are inconsistent, reactive, or emotionally unavailable. Yep. If you ever say to yourself, we talked about this in toxic relationships, man, why do I keep going towards these people who are just emotionally unstable? It's funny. I have a few clients and I've talked about this a lot. There could be, it doesn't matter what gender you are. Let's say there's guys or girls. There could be 100 people in one room. And 99 of those people are like, man, they are stable for your energy. They are great. But there's one person and they are a chaotic mess. They are the bad boy, bad girl. They're that. And there's one of you, some of you will look and be like, they're boring. They're boring. Oh, that one. Because this is what you're doing. You're specifically going towards the inconsistency and the reactiveness because you are always in this hypervigilance. And also, and this is a big one for my obsessive thinkers. So if you have OCD, well, let me rephrase this. If you are constantly in obsessive thought pattern, I would encourage you to talk to your doctor about an OCD diagnosis. Let them evaluate you. Let them kind of give you these tests. I have OCD, and so the obsessive thoughts just come with that. But if you're in that, you are constantly replaying dramatic situations in your head for hours. Addicted to chaos. Yes, we understand that it's OCD. Yes, I get that. But guess what? You're still addicted to it. You keep replaying it. I should have said this. I could have said that. Oh my God, what if this happens? What if that doesn't happen? What if this? Blip, 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 blip. Yeah. Again, I understand that there's reasons, bipolar, schizophrenia, anxieties, PTSDs, OCDs, ADHDs. It doesn't make it any less addicted to the emotional chaos. It's still that. It's just now you have even more of a comorbidity to go with that. So why do you keep attracting this? Well, you associate chaos with attention. That's right. You can associate chaos with attention. Let's say somebody says, oh my God, you're so messy. You're so messy. Well, they're paying you attention. If you find yourself doing things for attention, that are a little messy, well, guess what? That's what's happening. That's why, because you're associating this attention that people give you in your chaotic state with validity, and it isn't. So if love in your early life was constantly inconsistent or conditional, because that happens, or, your nervous system associates unpredictability with love. Yep. It's crazy how we see love. And again, love is not controlling. Love does not keep score. Love does not say, I love you. You must sit here and I own you. I'm going to take this square peg and shove it into a round hole. That's not love. That's not love. But guess what? That might be how you had to learn love. That might be what you thought love was because your family life was a chaotic nightmare. Always knowing why is going to be helpful. And then when somebody finally gives you that attention after withdrawing, this is that love bombing thing, that mimics that dopamine hit of a trauma bond. Yep. So chaos provides proof that you matter, even if it's painful. Isn't that crazy? Chaos in your mind at that time with the addiction provides proof that you matter. It's kind of like when people would say growing up, or even now, but you see this a lot when people are younger. Oh, they're so jealous. Oh my God, they love me so much. No. Jealousy means run as fast as you can in the other direction. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just keep it moving. So that's why that's a big part of it because your body's used to it. So, and then you can mistake that intensity with intimacy because this is where that obsession goes in. Any of those fast connections, deep trauma dumping or emotionally charged fights, that feels like passion. But it's just dysregulated nervous system bonding. That's right. You can have a dysregulated system bonding. So here you are and it's passionate and you're this and fast connection and you're deep trauma dumping and these things are happening and oh my God, I've got passion. No. Because if stability feels fake because you equate adrenaline with truth, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. And that's why, oh my God, get off here, book a session ASAP. We need to talk about your adrenaline response, why you are resisting feeling peace. And it's okay because that's what happens. Anybody who's had a level of trauma, which quite honestly, I feel personally that every person walking this planet has had some level of trauma. You don't get to compare your trauma. How it feels to you is going to be how it feels to you. So everybody has something, right? Nobody's without weirdness. Nobody's without quirks. Nobody's without annoyances. I have them. You have them. We all have them. Very important because if that stability feels like fake and you're like, nope, because I don't have my adrenaline. And my adrenaline is on point. This must be truthful. And it isn't. So how do you create it in your head? Well, it's familiar. Your subconscious brain does not crave peace. It craves what it knows. And that's just a fact. Listen to that sentence and understand your brain believes everything that you tell it. The familiar. The subconscious brain does not crave peace. Your logical brain does. Your subconscious does not because it doesn't know that. It doesn't know that. It knows the chaos. It knows the nightmare. It knows the insecurity. It's familiar with it. Habit. It's a habit. If the chaos feels like home, you're like, oh my God, sucks, but I'm used to this. Well, you're going to recreate it to feel emotionally secure, even if logically you hate it. We do many things in life that we know aren't good for us. That we are like, oh, we want to change this. I've always had a binge eating disorder all my life. So I work hand in hand with my binge eating disorder. I'm not embarrassed by it. She doesn't always flare her ugly head. I'm aware when she's there. I'm like, what is going on? Let's see. No judgment. I don't try to stop it. You never try to stop a binge. It's the worst thing you can do. I don't try to stop it. I understand it without judgment. Okay. It's bills month. It's time to pay the bills. This makes sense. Okay. What can I do to distract from that? I can journal on it. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to pick up a crochet project, whatever it is. But the reality is I'm so used to the other chaos of constantly being on guard that I got to pump my brakes because it's okay to breathe. It's definitely okay. So even if I hate that feeling, it's still a very familiar feeling. And it is something that when you've had a certain level of PTSD with whatever it is, you can't say, I can't do it. Stop telling yourself that, because that's just a bullshit lie that you tell yourself, I can't do this. I've always done that. Yeah, when anybody says I've always been that way, that lets you know that they're not going to do the work on themselves because they just said, fuck it, this is what it's going to be. That's different than being confident. These are people who don't want to do the work. Let's say it's a parent that you've seen that's toxic or whatever the case may be. I know some of you know exactly what this is. So, and here's the other thing too. Your emotional addiction thrives on cycles of rejection, panic, relief, connection. So think of a big circle. Let's do this big circle. Look at it like a clock. And that emotional addiction. So you're going to have rejection. You're like, oh my God, oh my God. Now, every no is not a rejection. For some odd reason, every time somebody says no to you, you feel like it's a rejection. But you're going to start with rejection. Then, of course, you're going to panic. You know, what the hell is happening? And then you're going to have a certain level of relief, whether it works the way you want or it doesn't, because you're going to sit there and you're going to keep replaying it in your head. And then in your mind, you have a connection. There are people who have had connections. And we know that this is a way deeper issue when it comes to stalking, because that's there's a big mental component there. But often when people go into a stalking mode, or they're following somebody on social media or whatever it is, and they swear that they're having a relationship with that person, they have a connection, this is a big part of that. And again, stalking is very different because it carries a whole different slew of psychological issues. But it's just to let you know that's that level of obsession as well. And that is not love. You become hooked on the relief that comes after the chaos that's destroying you. That's that trauma bond, blah, 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 blah. And then, we're okay. You're like, oh my God, that's great. I feel good now. I feel seen now. So what can you do to start breaking that pattern? Well, first of all, you got to know that it is a pattern. So this is where you want to review it. This is where you want to look at it. You want to say, okay, what exactly is happening in my mind right now? What am I operating from that seems familiar? So what I like to do with my clients, I'm going to do with you here. Based on whatever you feel right now, insecurity, this specifically, let's not talk about any other topic. Let's talk about addiction to this emotional stuff. When is the first time that you felt that? I know you're going to tell me that you feel it in this relationship. I don't care about that. I want to know when you first felt it. Did you first feel it with mom? Did you first feel it with the kindergarten teacher? You felt it before. This isn't a brand new feeling. It's not. And this is a thing where I always tell people too, let's say you were to start seeing me and you're starting to see me because you're having a marital problem. Cool. We'll talk briefly about that, but we're not going to start there. We're going to go back in time. We're going to go back in time in either why you want to control it or why you have allowed that feeling that you got to protect somebody by staying. Where did that start? Because whatever you're dealing with, think of it as like the tree of life, okay? Leaves are just simply a product. Leaves come off those little branches. Little branches come off bigger branches. Bigger branches go to the main part of the tree, and the tree goes into the ground, and then all those roots that you can't even see are all throughout the bottom. Well, you're sitting up here and you're trying to take care of these damn leaves. Leaves don't matter. You're over here worried about my relationship. Oh, my fear. Oh, this, that, and the third. You're up in the leaves. I don't care how many times you try to water these leaves, you're not getting anything without the nutrients and oxygen from the tree trunk and roots. You're not getting it. So instead of worrying, I need to get better and I need to feel this and I need my depression to go away and great. First of all, it's not fast. One of you people's biggest problems is they want it to be fast. They want this magic pill. They want the magic answer. They want to listen to 5 podcasts, go to 6 therapy sessions and take some medicine and now it's better. It's not. It won't be. And until you're willing to do the work, because you can keep going to the best person on the planet. If you're not doing the work, it doesn't matter. Shit's just a waste of time and money for everybody. It takes time and it will be something that you deal with for the rest of your life. And the same people who start on your journey may not end up on your journey. And you're going to have to wrap your head around that today. So here you are up in these leaves worrying about your marriage. Cool. If you need to have some level of like, all right, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But none of that matters. Your marriage at that point does not matter to me. What matters to me is how are we there? Where are you? Where is your mind? What is going on? What's the first time you experienced it? That's how we see where the emotional addiction comes from. That's how we see where the attachments come from. That's how I see where the ego has checked itself. Because I'm going to tell you right now, those leaves will definitely just sit there, and just like every other season, they're going to shrivel up and they're going to be blown away for something else to be, budded again. So you got to stop trying to treat the actual symptom and go back to the root. Everybody's treating symptoms. You got to go back to it. And this is why exposure, I told you as I went through my molestation, I can talk to you about it in detail, every second, every move of it, and order pizza or a soda, and I'm fine. I'm not emotionally triggered by it, because when I deal with my clients, we're going to re-experience those things over and over and over again. I will never, ever have any of my clients run from triggers. I will have you run into the fire, directly into it. And we're going to keep doing it, and we're going to keep doing it, and you're going to keep doing it. Because after a while, you're going to realize that you're here today and that you were always the person that you needed at that time. But to avoid it doesn't help you. But again, that's a commitment to saying, am I ready to get out of emotional addiction? That's a question you have to ask yourself. And you have to be willing to say, how uncomfortable am I willing to get? There's no scenario where shit's just comfortable and you're going to heal. That's not true. That's not a thing. So if you're trying to just get through it fast and you're trying to not make it feel some kind of way, you're addicted to you have emotional addiction. You do. So interrupting the pattern. Start noticing how you feel when things are calm. When you're calm, are you like, oh, I want to come out of my skin? You're sitting down, you're going to watch some TV, got your robe on, you sit there, you're like, dishes need to be done, got to throw a load of laundry in. Ask yourself why you're having a hard time sitting and just being calm. Let your thoughts come, let them go. Nothing needs to be done, nothing needs to happen. Always remember, you could get hit by a bus. Let's not make ourselves more important than we need to be. Because at any given time, a meteor, don't say it can't happen. If you've seen the news, who knows what's going to happen? A meteor could fall out the sky and wipe you out. Well, guess what? The laundry's still going to be there. All this shit does not stop because you're not here. Always remember that. You're trying to make it distracting. That's why people scroll. I do not scroll social media. Scrolling social media is one of the worst things that you can do for your mental health. That's facts. That's not an opinion. It's a fact. Which is why the algorithm of the any of the apps, they know that. Their job is to keep you on there. Does it feel boring, unsafe, or are you looking for a reason to stir something up in those calm moments? Really, I want you to ask yourself this. Is this feeling peaceful? Or is it just unfamiliar? Am I uncomfortable because it's wrong or because it's stable? Because I'm going to tell you, that's where I struggled for a very, very long time. It's stable. It's almost like, why? Ew. Think about the fact that your cortisol levels, everything doesn't have to come to battle. You're not getting up and putting that armor on for the day. You're not. You're getting up, you're taking your breaths, you're taking your time, you're doing the things, you're sitting on the beach since I've sent you to Aruba, and you're just letting it be in the present space. That's the one thing I like about practicing a level of Buddhism that I practice, is you're in the moment. It's hard for people to be in the moment if you have OCD or if you have a racing mind, but that is doable, and it's also required. That's required for anybody, but especially if you have those mindsets or those racing minds. The problem is you're like, well, I can't do that. What the fuck you can? Yes, you can. I can't do that. You can. It's just uncomfortable for you, and you're trying to be perfect in it, and you're trying to sit still, and you're trying to make it all go away in your head overnight. Doesn't work that way. Stop rushing the process. Goes back to all of that. So definitely want to ask yourself that. So, and you got to detox yourself from those highs and lows. You're going to have those highs. They're going to come. Going to have those lows. They're going to come. So going back to that, one of the examples I gave earlier, you've broken up with somebody, they broke up with you. Why are they still on your Snapchat? Get rid of them. Block them. There are people who are like, well, I don't really know that I want to do that. Yeah, because you're holding on to an idea that you still have a connection there. They've already moved on. Block them. Why are you doing that to yourself? That's you creating that chaos. That's you looking for some reason. Why? Why are you doing that? Why are you on somebody's Snap and looking at their Snap map and looking at what they're doing? And then you saw this and you heard somebody was out here and your friend said this person was there. Why are you doing that? Deep question to ask yourself. What is it that you're hoping to understand? You're addicted to that emotional response. That's exactly what it is. Because the goal is not to feel nothing. It's to learn what real safety feels like. Because I think people equate that with that too. Well, I don't know. I don't know that I want to feel nothing. Well, that's good, because then that means that you're avoiding your feelings. You're right. I don't want you to do that. But you do have to ask yourself, what am I willing to feel that's uncomfortable? See, that's the difference. In order for you to detox from the emotional addiction, in order to do that, you're going to have to really ask yourself and say, my goodness, this kind of feels peaceful, but it's unfamiliar. Am I uncomfortable? Is it because it's stable? Because you're always looking for that. See, we go back to that. And the goal, like I said, is not to feel anything. It's to learn what it feels like. You also want to create micro moments of calm and track your resistance. Micro moments. This means you set your clock, you set your timer for 2 minutes. And in these 2 minutes, you just sit. This is how we start to learn meditation. 2 minutes, like it's 120 seconds. Set that there. Just set it. Couple deep breaths. Just close your eyes for it until it goes off. Whatever thoughts are coming, just let them come. Just let those thoughts come. And then ding, 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 then it's over. Well, you've given yourself a little bit, whether you realize or not, you're starting to create this habit of calm. Don't go into this and go, well, those 2 minutes are supposed to be calm, and they're not calm. I feel worse than I did before. Yes, because your expectations are ridiculous. Your expectations are rooted in perfectionism. Your expectations are rooted in, I don't want to feel sad anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Well, you're going to always keep chasing and chasing and chasing. And that's what your life is going to look like forever and ever. And then you're going to say, I want peace, but yet you're not willing to be uncomfortable and do the work to find it. Because again, doing nothing is perfectly great. And it's also required as part of your healing journey. It's part of who you are as a person. So you have to sit with your stillness. So many people don't want to sit with their thoughts. That's why scrolling exists. Distractions, things, over cleaning. Yes, there's perfectionism that comes there, but there's a high level of avoidance. Go back to, I think it was like maybe 2 weeks ago, on the psychology of avoidance. Go back to that and say, my God, what is it that I'm avoiding? It always is going to come down to discomfort. But it's comfort in chaos. It's comfort in chaos, which is crazy in your head, right? I mean, it kind of is. I want you to also be around other people who are emotionally safe. Not the chaotic people who are constantly complaining. Not the people who is looking at the glass always half empty. The weather's always too hot, too cold. Like, it's one thing to be like, well, it's cold outside. Nope, it's always something. There's too much traffic. The coffee wasn't hot enough. The coffee was too hot. I have a headache. Oh, I'm just sleepy. I have this, I have that, I have this. That's not emotionally safe. These are people that are not, listen, we all have venting moments. Let's not pretend like we don't. But when you see this this is like mostly what you get. It's what they call Debbie Downers. You're around this person, you're like, oh God, what's going to be the problem now? There's always a problem. There's always chaos. There's always something wrong in a relationship. There's always something wrong at home. There's always something that isn't right at work. And we can never find any joy. Because even if you point joy out to them, they'll find something, they'll be like, yeah, I guess. But look, okay, fine, I hear you. But did you see what Janet did? You're like, my God, why are we talking about Janet? I was just talking about this. Those are not emotionally safe people. Those are emotional vampires. So the emotional vampires, that is where you got to be careful not to become one yourself. And when you're living in chaos, often we can become those people. I for sure was. My God, I was. Now I'm not anymore, thankfully, but I was. I was constantly that person who felt like the world owed them something. My mom passed. Why'd I go through this? Blah, blah, blah. Why did I live in a van? Why did I eat seasoning salt? Why? This game of why and comparison and jealousy. And oh my God, it was a nightmare. I would have never wanted to be, how I even have, like, Kim is my long-term friend since kindergarten. I don't know how she's my friend. I wouldn't have been. If I'm being honest with you, I would not have been my friend. Not because I'm not a good friend, because at that time, my God, I was full of chaos and negativity. Ew. No. So luckily, I thank God I'm on the other side of that and have been for quite some time now. I'm 54. So thankfully, I've been there for many years. But goodness gracious, that's not emotionally safe. So you don't want to be around people who are not emotionally safe. And you do not text that person who destabilizes you. Yeah, this is the big one. If your mom destabilizes you, why do you keep texting her? Again, you're an adult, right? You're an adult child. You keep texting a person that destabilizes you. So if every time you text somebody, you're almost like, oh, damn it, I don't want to text this person. And now you're texting that person, you're kind of like texting really hard. And you just know as soon as this person responds back to you, you're going to be like, oh, this asshole. Stop texting them. Stop. See, again, you have to be willing to distance. See, your brain will always panic. But that doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It means that you're healing. Got to regulate your nervous system daily. Your breath work. Cold exposure, massive benefits to cold plunges. Moving your body, that's an obvious one. And spending time with boring, consistent people on purpose. Boring, consistent people on purpose. This is going to help you start to be like, okay, well, every time I'm with them on the beach, all they do is read the book. Good. Go spend time with them. And also you need to redefine what connection means, because you've likely confused being wanted with being respected. Two very different things. You've confused wanted with being respected. They are not the same at all. And being chased after a conflict is also not love. This is where people start jumping through hoops and that's not love. That's not love. If someone is chasing you, not communicating with you, chasing you after a conflict, that's not love. Obsession is most certainly not intimacy. Obsession is a whole different ballgame, and it can teeter into like danger zone, but not all obsession is. Peace is not something that you earn either. It's something that you create. You're not earning peace. You and only you are in charge of creating that. I know you've heard this saying many times, no one's coming to save you. And that's a fact. You don't have to like it. You don't have to love it. You can wish that you had different tools. You don't. It's not something you're just going to wake up and have peace. You got to create that shit. You got to sit and you got to create it. You need to ask yourself, what does calm love feel like in your body? It's going to feel weird. You're going to be like, well, maybe I'm even extra stressed now that I'm in a relaxed mode. Of course. Your body's panicking. It's like, we're supposed to panic. And your body and your mind is like, well, I mean, there's nothing really to panic about. And your body's like, So it's going to take you a minute. It isn't overnight. A big question. And this is going to be maybe a harder question for you, for some of you. Who am I when I'm not managing others' reactions? Really ask yourself this. Who am I when I'm not managing other people's reactions? Because that's chaos. Chaos is managing other people's reactions. Chaos is trying to be valid by stopping this conflict. Chaos is not relaxation. Chaos is not, okay, well, not my journey to walk, not my emotion to manage. No, because that means you have to be confident in knowing that you don't need to be needed by that person, because then you're going to tell yourself they take advantage of me. No. They can't take advantage for what you don't give. You give because there's this level of chaos. So do you see how that's all a big cycle? And if you pay attention to some of the past podcasts, all of them, you're going to see where you are emotionally addicted to chaos, even though you want something different. So that's why I wanted to do this podcast. So you can get clear in why you're doing things, but then you got to take action to be uncomfortable. Got to take action to be uncomfortable. Got to take action to be misunderstood. Got to take action to be in the villain. Those are all things that are going to help you in the long run. Those are all things that are going to create a calmer, safer atmosphere for your body. This is all about you. This isn't about anybody else. It doesn't matter how they feel about your growth and your peace. This is not about them. They are going to do what they want to do, but you do not put your growth in a whole different sector from them. I mean, included with them. You just can't do that. You got to be willing to accept that some of these relationships that you've had, and maybe you've had them all your life, have just not been good for you. So ask yourself right now, why am I emotionally addicted?